If you're standing in the middle of the living room, eyeing that sleek white chair, wondering whether it will actually deliver the relief you've been chasing, you're not alone. Nobody wants to drop a few $100s on a gadget that ends up gathering dust or, worse, leaves you feeling sore because it didn't hit the right spots. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk through exactly how the Genesis Design's smart full body massage chair behaves once you actually sit in it, so you can decide if it's the kind of investment that will replace a handful of spa appointments or just sit pretty on your floor. First off, let's talk about the core promise of any full body massage chair. It needs to reach every major muscle group with enough pressure to feel therapeutic, but not so much that it turns into a painful clamp. The Genesis model uses a combination of 2D SL track rollers and an integrated airbag system that inflates around your shoulders, lower back, and hips. In practice, that means when you engage the deep tissue program, the rollers follow a slightly curved path that mimics the motion of a real therapist's hands moving up and down your spine, while the airbags tighten around your torso to add a squeezing sensation. I tried this on a typical work-from-home day after a long stretch of sitting, and the rollers actually reached the middle of my lower back without feeling like they were just gliding over the surface. The airbag pressure was noticeable but adjustable. I could dial it down when I was just looking for a light unwind, or crank it up after a heavy leg day at the gym and still feel it target my quads and calves without over-compressing. That brings us to the question of who really benefits from this kind of setup. If you're an office worker who spends 8+ hours at a desk, the combination of rolling massage and air compression can be a solid daily reset. The zero-gravity reclining angle also helps take the load off your spine, making the whole experience feel less like a hard seat and more like a gentle stretch. On the other hand, if you're hunting for a high-intensity deep tissue session that rivals a professional therapist's firm pressure, you might find the 2D rollers a bit shy. They're designed to be versatile across a range of body types, which sometimes translates to a softer touch compared to the more aggressive 3D or 4D systems you see on premium models. Noise is another real-world factor that often gets glossed over in glossy product copy. The Genesis chair runs on a motor that's audible, but not ear-splitting. While you're in the middle of a session, you'll hear a steady hum that's comparable to a quiet dishwasher. It's easy enough to talk on the phone or listen to music through the built-in Bluetooth speaker without the motor drowning out the sound. However, if you plan to use the chair in a shared bedroom or an open-plan living space where someone is trying to read or work, you'll want to be mindful of that low-level buzz. Space considerations can be a deal-breaker. The chair's footprint is roughly 70 inches wide by 35 inches deep, so you need a dedicated corner that can accommodate its reclining arc. The zero-gravity position pushes the chair back a bit further, so make sure there's at least a couple of feet of clearance behind it. If you're living in a tight apartment, you might need to measure carefully or consider a wall-mounted model instead. The good news is that the chair arrives partially assembled, and the instruction manual walks you through the final steps without requiring a professional. I was able to get it upright and fully functional in under an hour with just a basic set of tools. Control simplicity is a surprisingly important piece of the puzzle. The Genesis chair uses a touchscreen panel that sits on the armrest, plus voice activation for basic commands like start and increase intensity. In everyday use, I found the touchscreen intuitive enough that I could switch programs without looking away from my book. The voice control, while a neat gimmick, sometimes misinterpreted casual conversation for a command, so I kept it turned off after the first week. If you're tech-savvy and enjoy the novelty of talking to your chair, you'll appreciate the feature. If you prefer a straightforward button layout, you'll find the touchscreen does the job without the voice layer. Now, let's weigh the practical strengths against the drawbacks. On the plus side, the multi-program library gives you at least a dozen preset routines ranging from relaxation to sports recovery. That variety means you can pick a gentle massage after a stressful meeting, then switch to a more focused foot massage after a long hike. The foot massage module slides under your feet and uses rollers that need the arches, while the airbags gently compress the calves, useful if you have plantar fasciitis or simply love a good foot rub. The Bluetooth speaker is another handy addition. You can stream your favorite playlist or